All right. So listen, in my business, you do a lot of flying, right?
Down and say, you don't even have to say
Here to there, and I always end up sort of in the last position when flying. You know, you get to the airport, and they say, you show them your ID, they say, it's too bad, sir, you're in zone 5. I said, well, at least I'm not in the twilight zone. I tell a joke, you?
and that you're not going to talk about. You just sat on pillows, and he's like, "Let's go up there." Didn't think anything.
I got a chance to go to one of those 007 banks. You've seen these 007 banks? It's pretty. I went in there. I said, "I would like a bond, a savings bond." Pretty good. Finally got a chance to hear the music of Keith Urban. I thought to myself, gee, this guy might want to change his name to Keith Rural, if you know what I mean. But boy, there's a lot of women in music these days, don't you think? A lot of women in music. I love it. I think it's great. Listen, believe me. I think it's terrific. I heard the
situation, so she goes.
I get some of these inside stories, kind of cool. I heard this, I couldn't believe it was true. This young musician, she was, I guess just starting out, and she was in the studio, and she was singing her song, and she couldn't get a sense of the tempo, you know? She couldn't get a sense of whether it should be too fast or too slow. She didn't know what was going on. So she was young. She said to the producer, or the engineer, whoever it was, in the behind the board, you know, and she said, can you help me here with the pace of this? Is it too fast? Is it too slow? And the engineer, he doesn't know
what he didn't do. I go.
So he goes to the producer who's sitting next to him, or manager, we don't know. And he says, what should I tell her here? You know, what should we say? And he goes, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. Tell her to play the song swiftly.
And so I told him. I think it was like we were confused. It just didn't end up happening.
And then, of course, Lady Gaga's out there doing her thing. How many Lady Gaga fans do we have here tonight? I'll count myself. I think what she's doing is important and cool. And I love Lady Gaga. But what's next? Lord Goo Goo? Hey, and whatever happened to U2? Whatever happened to U2? Where did they go? They used to come out with an album every year. Suddenly they disappeared. Does anybody know where they came up with the name U2? Does anybody know the history of where the name U2 came from? Does anybody know where the name U2 came? Does anybody over here know what's that? Do you know where the name U2, where the name of the band U2 came from? Do you know where the name of the band U2 came from? The name of the band of the name of the band U2. This is true.
It just changes things enough.
And it was in reference to the drummer, what's his name, Larry Clayton.
Sorry, I don't want to argue about politics in comedy, right? So, okay, great. So,
Edge does all the drums and the bass, and Bono does the drums, and so.
And he went harassing me with really funny jokes, and that guy.
These records. Speaking of music. These records that come out, you know, these records come out that
did me, and he goes, "Oh, geez, I didn't think."
They're not received well, or they kind of go under the radar. They kind of are lost. They're forgotten, and then turns out 20, 30, 40 years later, they're massive classic music. You know, they're genre defining. They're important music. But when they come out, they kind of don't get recognized the way they should. You know, like the first Velvet Underground. Everyone knows that story, right? You've come out with it. No one buys it, but yet here we are. It's the #1 record of all time.
We hug, and my mother goes, "It."
Like, for the big one, the big example is Pet Sounds. A lot of people don't know this. Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys we can all agree, is just a classic record, correct? It's a classic album. At the time, was not well received. It came out, it was not a big hit. It was, you know, kind of considered a little weird by their audience. And I love Pet Sounds. Can I get an applause for that? I mean, I love Pet Sounds. It's a classic. I love Pet Sounds, I really do. But what I hate are pet peeves. Don't they drive you nuts? Just the hangnails or other examples of pet peeves. We got to do something about the English language, by the way, don't you think? I mean, it's like, it is always getting us in trouble. I have one example of that. I know this is cold. This is like flu season, right? What do you call it when you got a sore throat and your stuffy nose? What is that? No, it's a cold. I called my friend. I go, hey, Larry, you want to meet for dinner? He goes, nah, I got a cold. I can't come out. I can't go out. I go, okay. But here's the thing. When we're feeling good, when we're feeling healthy, we don't say we've got a hot. Look it up. We don't do it. We don't do it.